What travel destination actually lived up to the hype? Story 1, Grand Canyon. It actually breaks your brain a little. At first you think, oh, that's not that big, but then you start walking and the parallax movement your brain is expecting doesn't happen, and something clicks and your brain grasps the actual scale of the thing you're looking at. The feeling of looking at something so massive that you can't even compute the scale of it at first is both vertiginous and exhilarating. It's an absolutely incredible experience. Story 2, Maui. It was breathtaking. Everywhere you went it smelled of plants, flowers, and the ocean. The pace of the city was very laid back. All town roads were 35 miles per hour or under. Standing in line to pay for anything was not an annoyance as everyone around you was relaxed and friendly. I wish I could go for a couple weeks every year just to recharge. Story 3, probably underhyped, but Budapest, low prices everywhere, great bar scene, and really unique sights to see. Edit, I visited in 2016. Things may have gotten more bleak since then. I sincerely hope for the best for y'all because it was a wonderful city. Edit 2, it was June, so I marched with the Pride Parade also. I was so used to UK and USA Pride parades being super rainbow capitalist with brands everywhere. But it felt so much more real there. I suppose it's going to be a rougher year in many places globally this Pride Month. Everyone stay strong out there. Story 4, Costa Rica. Exceeded expectation. I felt like I was on another planet, one that valued the natural world and kept a radically different pace. I stayed at a sanctuary in the mountains, then by the beach with the monkeys. I ate fresh food from sunup to sundown. I forgot about work and other commitments. It was another realm. Story 5 did Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka in Japan, and they were all amazing. Highly recommend. In California, the La Brea Tar Pits and Sequoia National Park were breathtaking. Wife liked the beaches in LA and all that, but those are my highlights. Lived in Germany for 10 years, and the places that stood out to me were Hamburg, Heidelberg, KLN, and the North Sea. Story 6, Vietnam. I went there for a month on the suggestion of many people I met on the journey. I ended up staying for 3 years. I recently went back and met up with a bunch of the friends that I met there after 8 years apart. It was as if we'd been apart for 12 hours. Most welcoming people that I've ever met. Story 7, Lake Como, Italy. It was honestly so amazing that I want to go back, because I don't ever want to ruin the memories of the 3 perfect days we spent there. Story 8, Florence, and the Tuscany area in general. Best food I've ever had. Some of the most beautiful scenery in the world, amazing culture and history, and some truly astounding works of art. Story 9, Paris, France. Every day after seeing some of the most beautiful streets in the world, we would walk back to our rented apartment VRBO, and the street would be filled with vendors and little shops. Would walk in and purchase beautiful wine, fresh bread, cheese, cold meats, and have a charcuterie dinner. Living in the heart of Paris is something else, still my favorite city. Story 10, Glacier National Park, go to the Sun Road, be Avalanche Trail to Avalanche Lake, multi-hour hike. Story 11, Coastal California. We drove up the coast from San Francisco to Oregon. Everywhere you look is just a picture postcard, beautiful scenery, great food, phenomenal redwood forests. Story 12, I'm in Granada right now, and it is definitely underrated, and I just fell in love with this city. The top is the beers, wines, and just the beauty of this city. Also Alhambra, man, what a place. Story 13, the Italian Dolomites, the most stunningly beautiful place I have ever been. Hard to dream up someplace more grand or enchanting. Much of it feels pastoral or even untouched. There's so much wildlife singing and buzzing around the alpine lakes. It has totally ruined hiking for me in the U.S. Nothing has come close, even in our national parks. Venice, on the other hand, was basically a theme park with duplicates of the same souvenir shop on every street. Story 14, Cornwall. For me, it's not just the beaches. It's also the lush greenery, rich heritage, food, fragrant flowers, fresh air, amazing sunsets, and slow pace of life, and the beaches. Story 15, my first overseas trip had me change planes in Delhi. I figured to be going through India and not see the Taj Mahal was crazy, but I also thought that since I'd seen it in images so many times, my reaction would be muted, as in, oh yeah, there is no, I was so wrong. It was incredibly, incredibly beautiful. I was awestruck. No picture could ever replace seeing in person. Story 16, Madeira. Had a great time, beautiful walks, fascinating history. You can get unlucky with the weather, but we had a sunny week there and enjoyed ourselves thoroughly. The scenery was incredible. Story 17, the Caribbean. We've been to 3 different islands in the Caribbean, Jamaica, Bahamas, Nassau, and St. Lucia. Go was a bucket list item for me because I wanted to see beautiful and clear blue water. It was so breathtakingly beautiful in the Bahamas, riding on a powerboat in Exuma and seeing how pristine and clear the water was. You could easily see the boat's shadow on the floor of the ocean. Jamaica has amazing sunsets. So does St. Lucia. The locals are super nice and friendly as well. Pictures and videos don't do it justice. It's definitely worth getting there and seeing it in person. Story 18. I wouldn't call a hype country at all, but I loved Latvia. Gorgeous country. Would return more often if it wasn't so far from me in the southern hemisphere. Story 19. Lake Tahoe. Although there really isn't a ton of hype around it. The lake is like blue-tinted glass. It's so clear, and the surrounding areas are great for mountain biking and skiing. Story 20. Maybe not as impressive as what others are saying, but every year all my fellow Canadians go somewhere warm during winter, usually Mexico. I never really had an urge to travel, plus I'm too poor anyways, lol, but was finally pushed to go for a destination wedding. 1 week all-inclusive. Now I understand. They treat you like royalty. It was amazing. If I had money, I'd go every year too. Story 21. Switzerland. Most of the country is so beautiful and amazing that it is almost surreal. Imagine the most incredible CGI scenery in a movie. Switzerland is better. Story 22. Spent 8 days in Paris beginning of April and absolutely loved it. Weather was fabulous, good food, nice people, great wine, hit some tourist spots, Louvre, Versailles, but mostly just wandering about looking at. Cannot imagine what it would be like in summer though. Story 23. Angkor Wat. Every single person we talked to about our trip to Asia said, go to Angkor. What even if you're not otherwise going anywhere near there? Correct. Story 24. Spain is freaking great. Wife and I spent 3 weeks last year in southern Spain, Madrid, Valencia, Seville, Cordoba, Toledo, Granada. We loved it so much. Just returned last night from 3 weeks in northern Spain, Bilbao, San Sebastian, Costa Brava towns, Cadax, Figueres, Girona, Barcelona. Easy driving, great train system, and amazingly friendly people. And the food is exceptional. Story 25. Paris. It actually exceeded the hype because all I ever hear about it is that it's overrated. But no, it isn't. There's a reason artists flock there. The city has an appreciation for the aesthetic like no other place I've ever been. Story 26. Big Bend and NTL Park. Not only is the landscape beautiful and the hiking great, but it's in one of the few regions in the country where the night sky is magnificent. Worth a trip just for that. Story 27. Bulgaria. No hype. That's what makes it great. Dirt cheap, great food, nice people, nice beaches, amazing historical sites, highly overlooked, absolutely delightful. Story 28. Barcelona. We stayed further away from the super touristy area, and I just enjoyed hanging out in parks, checking out the architecture, and eating some regional food. That city really likes its art. Story 29. Safari in Kenya. Seeing all those animals live in the wild and watching them eat, and everything was incredible. You also have a much better appreciation for animals and how important energy conservation is for them. They most go out early morning and late afternoon and rest during the hottest times. Story 30. Paris. I loved it. It exceeded my expectations because everyone nowadays makes it seem like it's a no way. It's a beautiful Western European capital with tons of amazing buildings, food, etc. Story 31. Antarctica is the most incredible place I've been. The wildlife, the ice, the quiet, and the almost utter lack of people. Bit of a pisser get there, though. Story 32. We'll give you an underhyped place, Canyonlands National Park. Didn't know much about it. It was a side quest en route to Arches. Was a shock when I got there. Story 33. Ireland. In Ireland is incredible. We rented a car for 10 days and made a big loop. Flew into Dublin and made a counterclockwise loop around the coast back to Dublin. Story 34. Shawnee National Forest in southern Illinois, U.S. You can explore for days, seeing beautiful nature. The farther you get away from the small towns, the better the atmosphere. It's so peaceful. They have their own version of Garden of the Gods with breathtaking vistas and rocky outcroppings that seem endless. I feel like I'm stepping back in time to when Native Americans roamed the valleys of the Ohio River Basin. Story 35. Iceland. Hands down, it truly felt otherworldly, like stepping onto another planet. You can drive a mile and pass 40 waterfalls, each more dramatic than the last. 1 minute you are surrounded by green cliffs and black sand beaches. The next you're walking through a geothermal field where the ground is literally bubbling at your feet. Every turn on the road feels like a new movie set. It completely lived up to the hype and honestly exceeded it. Story 36. Amsterdam. I backpacked all over Europe in my early mid-20s. Amsterdam had been on my bucket list for a while at that point, and the place I was most looking forward to visiting. It was everything I hoped for and more. The red light district was vibrant and alive. The canals were beautiful. The culture and history was rich and diverse. The people were friendly, and you could bike anywhere and everywhere at any hour and always bump into interesting people or find something fun to do. Story 37. Stupid answer, But Yosemite, I thought it was just going to be crowded, and it was crowded. Got there 5 a.m. to get a parking spot. That place is so beautiful. Didn't even notice the massive crowds. Not my favorite spot ever, but it was breathtaking. And being from Florida won for not being flat. Story 38, China, specifically Sichuan. There's so much incredible natural beauty, deep cultural significance, and so many wonderful people. I love Sichuan so much that after visiting for a few weeks, I went back and lived there for 2 years. I got to travel all over the country, but Sichuan will always be special to me. Story 39, Bath, UK. Lived here for 30 years. Today, just had to stop and admire the lush green view and blue skies looking towards Little Salisbury Hill, Charmy Down, across to Bannerdown. Then over to Charlecombe. I love Tokyo as my holiday destination, but always happy being a tourist where I live. There's always something new to explore, or just enjoy the views. Story 40, Iceland. We went in 2021 after the pandemic with our 3 young boys. Incredible scenery everywhere, very drivable, friendly people. I usually don't plan to go back to most of the places I go to since there are always more, but it's one that I really want to go back to ASAP. Story 41, Paris and France in general. Just so much history and beautiful architecture, beautiful parks, and so much to do and see. And the food is just out of the world. Story 42, Japan, was just as good as everybody said. All the main tourist trail cities, Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka, Hiroshima. It was amazing, and this was in the middle of winter, and we didn't even go to Sapporo. Story 43, Iceland. Even if you don't catch the lights, it's just stunning, stark, otherworldly beauty in every direction. The air smells and tastes of volcanoes. It's like another planet. Story 44, Madeira. Portugal was underhyped and overdelivered. Similar geography as Kauai, Maui, but with much better, cheaper food and amazing wine. So much to do and see. A week on that tiny island did not feel like nearly enough time to see everything. Story 45, Thailand. Went to Bangkok, Chiang Mai, and the islands, particularly the Phi Phi Islands and surrounding areas. Beautiful scenery, amazing architecture and temples, and some of the best food I've ever had. Story 46, the Uni Salt Flats in Bolivia are the closest to infinity I have ever felt. Pro tip, if you do go, please sunscreen everything, including your lips. Story 47, Scotland. Absolutely gorgeous. Nice hiking. Food was surprisingly good. Whiskey was obviously great, as well as modernized and a bit corporate, depending on where you go. Story 48, I've never really traveled anywhere I hated, but Croatia and Iceland are the 2 most amazing places I've been hands down. Both insanely, just jaw-droppingly gorgeous, albeit for very different reasons. Story 49, Paris. I know for a lot of people it was the opposite. Even my brother didn't like it, because he experienced the Parisians are a rude stereotype. And he's not like an entitled American tourist type either, but at least I didn't get that I found everybody I encountered very nice, or at the very least, not rude. Maybe it's the way I usually carry myself in foreign countries. I talk to everybody with a smile and humility and patience. But I had a wonderful time visiting all the typical tourist places, shopping, and just walking around. Story 50, Angkor or Wat in Cambodia. It's on a whole different level compared to places like Chichen Itza, Tulum, Machu Picchu, the Sun and Moon Palaces in China, the Great Wall, and even the Forbidden City. I've been to all of them. It's massive, and visiting was like being in a real-life Indiana Jones movie. So many pyramids and temples. The moat alone is mind-blowing. I want to go back and spend weeks there. I only got to spend a day. Story 51, Angkor, Wat in Cambodia. So beautiful and haunting. We never get tour guides, and for some reason we let this guy walk us through the ruins and told us all about everything. He was so knowledgeable. We knew we were going to have to pay him, but he was a delight. The orangutans in Borneo, such amazing creatures. Funny one, Meow Wolf. It was so fun. We stayed for 3 hours and could have stayed longer. Story 52, I literally just got back from the Galapagos. And let me tell you, it was incredible if you can go do it. It's one of the most beautiful places I could imagine, where you see things that don't even seem real. I can't overstate or explain in words that place. Story 53, Loch Ness. All of Scotland was incredibly beautiful, but standing in a wooded hill, looking over the valley the lake is in at these sun-dappled rolling hills on the other side was truly breathtaking. It's easy to understand how the national animal is a unicorn, because you expect one to just walk out from behind a tree. Story 54, Yosemite. I've now been going regularly for over a decade, but that first time is still such a powerful memory, overwhelming in the best possible way, and the cherry on top is that you have to go through Fresno to get there. Story 55, driving on the coastal highway from Dubrovnik to Split in Croatia. Best road trip I've ever taken. Gorgeous views of the Mediterranean the whole way and great food and wine. There are really cool historical sites, hikes and beaches, with short-stay villas on the water to stay at on the way up. Story 56 Banff and Jasper National Parks are absolutely stunning. In so many different locations, I did a geological field school in Jasper National Park, and I'll never forget that opportunity. The north shore of Lake Superior is also gorgeous, towering cliffs and wide shallow bays, jack pines and wildlife. Cape Breton in Nova Scotia is beautiful too. Canada has so many beautiful landscapes to offer, everything from white sand beaches to mountains to deserts and Arctic tundra. The only thing we don't have are the tropics. Story 57 hadn't heard any specific hype, but had a good trip to Puerto Rico. Came in time for the Festival of San Sebastian that goes 3 days, went on a walking tour of Old San Juan, went to a big fort, the Arecibo Antenna La Cueva Ventana window cave with a hole open in the side of a cliff, took a food tour, trying things at a few different places, took a boat over to Vieques, a neighboring island where they have bioluminescent algae. They don't want you swimming in it or touching it much. Apparently, all the soap, perfumes, etc. people have on them can kill them. Still cool, though. Story 58 Yosemite. Grew up in the area. My wife and kids had never been, and I felt like I was overhyping how incredible it was, but my family says, if anything, I undersold it. That first peek into the valley is one of the best views on the planet. Story 59 Austria. From cities like Vienna, Innsbruck, Salzburg to smaller places like Freistadt and Baden. Hiking in the Alps is amazing. There are plenty of wineries and the beers are great. Story 60 French Polynesia Maria was better than Bora Bora and Aitutaki and the Cooks, so not technically FP, is the prettiest of all. Amazing people, amazing culture, amazing ocean life. Truly a spectacular place. Tahiti is not as nice. It's basically a port town, but everywhere else was lovely. Story 61 Dreamed of going to Alaska. Was the first thing on my bucket list. Finally went for 10 days in 2017. I did not ever want to come home. It was the most beautiful, magical place to me. I really have no words to express how I felt there. Story 62, so much through the interior of British Columbia. The mountains, waterfalls coming down the mountains, amazing views, cute small towns, the Fraser Canyon, Sea to Sky Highway, and the road down to the small town of Lillooet, full of Canadian history. Also Vancouver Island, the Pacific Rim National Park, stunning. Story 63, I love London. I think I was born to ride the tube. So many museums, the Greenwich Observatory with all those early precision clocks. I'm ready to go now. Story 64 Mecca. It's deeply moving to see so many people just united, from all ethnicities and cultures and nations all brought together. An American praying next to an Iraqi, an Italian next to a Libyan. It's better than Disney World. Story 65, completely personal to me. But the first time I flew to Saskatchewan with my wife and girlfriend, I knew I never wanted to leave Canada. I got my Canadian citizenship last year, and Canada is still magical to me. It has everything: mountains, plains, desert, wetlands, grasslands, forests, vibrant cities, vast wilderness, etc. Story 66 Nepal, Croatia 15 years ago, the Tatry Mountains, Slovakia, Taiwan, Copenhagen. I've also learned that most times it is you, where you are at and how is your mental health that will dictate the experience you have.